What holds this collection together? Don't say a binding or I'll have to whack you with the book.
The title, Combustion, took a long time trying to figure out what the title would be. When I realized that so much, the title poem, for example.
Kind of a macabre little piece, by the way.
I guess that might, obviously I can't deny your take on that. But it's real. I mean, that's what happened to my mother. So I'm sure she thought it was much more than macabre. What holds the book together, I think, is that whole process of how things become lit. They're on fire and reduced to ash, and that's what our experiences are like, that's what our relationships are like, that's what life is like. It's a process of combustion.
Tell me a bit about that story.
Well, it's, the bare bones of the story, and the poem is actually just recounting my talking with my mother about that as she was sitting on our deck in Nova Scotia and telling me about it and thinking about it years and years later. She had a son that was stillborn and was still under anesthetic, and between my father and the hospital staff decided, well, that was it, presumably to save her the grief. What they did was they just tossed the baby into the furnace.
Would you read Combustion?
Sure. Combustion. And so the nuns put my little brother Jack into the furnace, and that was that. My mother doesn't know until she wakes, the white shoes a whisper by her bed, my father's voice cold sand in her ear, and I at home curled near the heat register, Graham despairing that I won't eat, waiting for the baby. Snowball sits in the back of the Chesterfield watching what wind does in the claws of bare trees, drifts outside too high and wilding for her paws, too high for me in my snowsuit, too high, too cold, and the black phone on the wall, and no baby, fine then, no suit. They decided, she says now, 50 years away as we sit on the deck, our skin inhaling summer waning sun. The Holy Trinity, doctor, nun, husband, dead of winter. They could have waited until I saw my son's face. She stuffs out her cigarette, rolls her head back. That distance, where she goes. I reach, grasp only the howl of storms in the small railway town, fist of cold at the door in winter, maw of Main Street under high clouds and summer dust. My father's voice at supper. They fired the station master today. Image of a man tied to a pole over a bonfire. The July parade. Crepe paper, my white peaked hat and apron, the old Dutch cleanser woman, Joey hobbling beside me, brown fringed hat and holster, drums, and the Switzer girls on their tricycles ahead of us, gone the next winter. Fire, their whole house down. Clang of a coal stove, my father shoveling at dawn, heat, cold, mother, Graham, cat, and the empty space where our baby was going to be. I could pull out the old brownie photos, crisp and snapping from their little crow-wing tabs, burn those into my mind. But how to go back on my own, to go where she goes, even to the edge. She pulls out her lighter again. The Du Maurier, a small white finger in her mouth. Sparks, ash. Lying there, cut from my gut to my ribs, sick from ether, out cold, and he comes home from Hinton in time to tell them to go ahead, dispose of the body. Small town, small hospital, and you at home, waiting. Stillborn, a brother, out into the chimney, into the air, the whole town breathing him. Her smoke drifts off the deck toward the trees, white mark in the air, a wavering trail.
I don't want to leave people with the idea that the collection is a downer, because it's not.
Okay, well here's one that's a little bit of a breather. It's called Gray. Red did time in juvie, sucked on his first smoke at 8. Blue trails behind St. Jude, wringing her hands, simpering. Green tries too damned hard. And yellow, that slut, loves everything with a pulse, vacuums naked, rubs citrus on her skin. And orange, neurotic, high octane, 10 pages in the DSM. Keep him from guns, fat tire trucks, fuses. Go instead with gray. Hum of an engine you trust, an A chord, major, minor, seventh, placid as a cat and sly about small spaces, quiet at the gates of language, stone path to the Buddha you killed, a single shoe at the bottom of the lake, old man's beard in your apple tree, the alchemy of light into lattice, draping over dead limbs, bruise of a frail wind. The achromatopic among you see tone, shadow, saturation, the grain, but not the rainbow. Why call this blindness? You trust moonlight, love the evening before, the morning after. Gray is your true love's hair, your favorite sweater with a fraying sleeve, grandmother's tarnished silver passed hand to hand, sand in the oyster shell, necklace of whispers sliding down your breast.
Nice job. Good job with collection. And I can't wait to see what you come up with next.
Thank you.
Because, you're just a rookie poet, so...
That's right. That's right.
So, it's this new career of yours.
Yeah.
Well done.
Right. Thank you, Greg, and what a lovely interview.
The book is Combustion Poetry Collection. I've been speaking with the Poet Laureate of Halifax, Lorri Neilsen Glenn-Combustion, published by Brick Books.